Hey guys, welcome back to another What If here. Today we're doing What If Female Naruto was a Swordswoman Part 1. If you guys want this to become a series, then do tell me in the comments down below. And yeah, I do also have some things I want to say at the end of this What If, so you can either watch all the way through, which would be much appreciated, or you can just skip there right now. Anyway, without out of the way, let's get into this. So, a silver-haired man would be walking into a field. This field was known as Field Number 7, or Field 07, or Training Ground Number 7. And yeah, why was this silver-haired man going to this training ground? Well, quite simply, not to train, but because that was something his destination included going into the training ground. And yeah, though as he would enter and as he would continue to walk towards his destination, he would end up stopping as he'd realise there was somebody else in the training ground. He'd kind of somewhat, though after spotting it, as he'd momentarily think that of potentially coming back, because he didn't want to interrupt, though he'd be somewhat surprised as he'd momentarily think a somewhat woman was practicing kenjutsu, though he would end up changing that from woman to child, female. And yeah, though he'd still be surprised as he'd somewhat watch this somewhat girl seemingly just dance, seemingly with somewhat her blade, her katana in her hands. And yeah, he knew that being able to seemingly almost dance with your blade was something very few actual kenjutsu users do. And yeah, so that she'd been used, or at least having somewhat using a sword or training in the art of the sword for some time now. And yeah, though he would somewhat watch her for a bit, as yeah, the only real thing he'd know of her was that she had yellow, seemingly blonde hair. And yeah, the sword he could really only make out that it was a red bladed katana. And yeah, though that would be roughly it, besides from the clothes that she was wearing, though he wouldn't pay too much attention to what she was wearing, of course. And yeah, though a somewhat couple of seconds would go by as he would then shake his head as he'd continue on to his destination. His destination was a stone. This stone, boulder, rock, whatever you'd like to call it, had names carved into it, and this stone was called the Memorial Stone. Every name carved into that was a name that had a person that had been killed in battle, in action during either the first, second, third Shinobi World Wars, or even any potential attack on the village. Those were the shinobis that had sacrificed their lives, that had died in action protecting the village, the civilians and their family from harm. And yeah, the reason why he was going here was because his sensei's wife, his two teammates were on that stone. And yeah, though he'd arrive there, I say it'd be around half an hour past midday, and yeah, and he'd begin to somewhat tell them that the Father Kage had once more given him another team. And yeah, though And yeah, though of course time would pass and he would kind of look up from the stone, somewhat startled at the time, as it was kind of going on somewhat, well, what he could tell, say 5, 6 o'clock, potentially 6:30 or 7. And yeah, though he would somewhat leave the memorial stone simply stating that he would be back tomorrow. And yeah, though leaving, he would somewhat turn to somewhat see if the child was still there, and though he would at first glance he'd go, she's not, though a second glance, more thorough glance, would somewhat reveal some tracks. Following those tracks, with simply his eyes only, or his eye only, he'd discovered that she'd very much moved and had been moving through different soil, through the different somewhat soils of the training ground 7, from normal, seemingly decent dirt to dirt that was so dry it was practically dust, and then to pretty much mud, to then also pretty much practically just water, as it would be floating on top of the dirt, with the dirt absorbing so much water that it couldn't hold no more. Yeah, though, and you'd somewhat be surprised, she was all seemingly dancing away at her with a katana, and you'd be somewhat surprised that she'd been doing this for potentially 5, 6, 7 hours. Yeah, though he'd kind of shout out, hey miss, you may want to have a check of the time. She'd kind of stop with a katana pretty much straight out in front of him, though she'd tell her head upwards towards the sky, and her eyes would somewhat go wide in momentary shock, though she'd look down and she'd sheath her katana, doing the hand signs for someone just thank you. The silver-eyed man would be somewhat surprised, as he's kind of expecting her to potentially speak. Yeah, though then again she could be mute or just potentially shy. And yeah, from there, somewhat wait for a bit, though they would end up walking together, leaving training ground 7. Yeah, though just as they were somewhat pretty much passing through the sign, passing by the sign that designated the start of the training ground, you'd ask her if she was by any chance a Konoichi or a academy student, and she'd go, well, in a way, both, I guess. And yeah, it'd be somewhat surprised, and yeah, that meant that she was probably a newly graduated genin, and one that was and potentially the only one that actually knew that the genin exams, or at least were a 2-part test and not singular part. Yeah. Though a comfortable silence would form around them as they would kind of continue to walk towards the more somewhat populated part of Kono, though after some time they would end up splitting ways, with the silver-haired man simply saying goodbye, with her doing the hand signs for goodbye and leaving, as the two would go to their respected apartments or homes to either, cook dinner, bath and sleep. And yeah, anyway, though, the next day would go on by, and the same blonde hair or yellow-headed female would be sitting similarly in a class. This female girl was none other than Naruto Uzumaki, the Jinchuriki of the Nine-Tailed Fox. And yeah, though she'd be currently staring outside the window. Why? Well, because just an hour ago they had come back from having an hour break, and prior to that she had learned, as well as the entire class had learned, of what team they would be placed on. And yeah, though everyone somewhat in class, even somewhat Iruka and even the Hokage himself, Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, all knew her as the dead last of the academy, the dead last, the seemingly idiot. And yet she very much wasn't. She was a lot smarter than what she let on. And as one being once said, there is more somewhat to me than, well, there was more of her than what meets the eye. She simply played dumb, acted dumb. And yeah, after all, if you can convince an entire village and a Hokage, the leader of said village, that you're a somewhat dumb dead last, and well, yeah, and to do it for some years, we've also been able to train and to continue your seemingly obviously knowledge growth, and that pretty much shows that you're very damn good at infiltration based missions, long-term infiltration missions. They were generally some of the hardest to do due to the longer you are in an enemy territory, and especially if you had somewhat gone seemingly undercover, the almost harder it got. And yeah, anyway, though of course she'd be looking out the window as she'd be remembering the day she got her katana. More specifically, it was an old man that had forged it. And yeah, this kind of old man, or at least for those she'd kind of somewhat became friends somewhat with the old person, as he was one of the very few civilians that didn't glout at her. And yeah, so when he seemingly needed help, she would kind of help him. Sure, she'd become somewhat late to the academy every so now and then, but she didn't care. And yeah, though of course at one point in time she did straight up skip an entire week of the academy, simply to kind of look after the old man who had gotten ill. And yeah, though of course when the third had somewhat, once the person had of course gotten better, he'd somewhat asked her that he would have to do something to repair a car, and this, though she simply shook her head, saying that he had to do nothing. And yeah, though he just shake his head, saying that he just couldn't do so. He couldn't let somewhat a clear act of kindness to go unrewarded. And yeah, though she just seemed to say that she really didn't need anything, but she was only somewhat around 7 at the time, 7 to nearing her 8th birthday. And yeah, though he'd kind of gain an idea as he'd go, you know about Kenjutsu, right? She'd go, the sword thing, art of the sword, right? Yes. Have you ever thought of becoming a Kenjutsu user yourself? She'd go out, not really, the person, but somewhat not, and go, well, how about I forge you a katana? You'd be surprised what really, how much would it? It'd be free. Again, a act of kindness like the one you've shown me has to be rewarded to skip a full week of the academy. Somewhat just to kind of help me requires me to do this, so please. She'd begrudgingly nod. Yeah, though from that he'd tell her to wait a couple of seconds, a minute or so, as he'd be right back. She'd just nod, and yeah, a minute or so later, and he'd reappear, though this time with a wooden sword. She'd crack an eyebrow, and he would give it to her, simply telling her that the sword would take some time to forge, but the wooden katana would allow her to get the basic somewhat understanding of the sword. She would ask, if there were any type of stance or that, and he just shakes out, simply saying that everyone kind of like, yeah, there were basic stance, but it's generally better to form your own type of style, like in hand-to-hand combat. In taijutsu, it'd be better to have your own taijutsu stance than to copy, than to learn a somewhat stance from someone, as those holes become your holes. Whereas if you create your own one, you can try and fill them in and even utilize them. Yes, not at that, and yeah, it took about nearing a year to forge. And yeah, though once it was done, he had he'd someone would kind of give it to her with somewhat it looking like it does in the picture. Yeah, the only difference would be the hilt, or the handguard, in other words. Yeah, that he kind of made it to slightly hint at her, or at least why the villagers actually hate her. And yeah, it had 9 tails, though those tails were actually fox tails. If you could look, if she looked closely enough, she'd see that there were in fact 9 fox tails, and yeah, indicating that she was the 9th tails Chinchuriki. Yeah, though of course, yeah, that was kind of the only thing different between the photo you see and what Naruto would receive. He'd state that every katana, has, or at least deserves a name, / has a name, should ask what it's called, and he'd say, how do I know? I'm not you, you are the owner of the sword, you must name it. She'd just somewhat nod, and she'd kind of almost be fixated somewhat on the seemingly tails, as she'd then somewhat pull the katana out, simply stating that I'll call you the the sword of the 9 tails, not the 9-tailed, like 9-tailed fox, but as in 2 separate words, 9 tails. And yeah, you'd kind of gain a slight smile as you'd nod at a fine name for a fine sword and a fine somewhat female like herself. She'd somewhat blush slightly, though she'd thank him for the compliment. And though it would only be about 2 years later when she'd be about 10, when she'd be at the age of 10 when he would sadly pass away. She was in as he was of course a Konoha forger. He forged Konoha swords and kunai. And yeah. And so she and Hiruzen and some other people that did know him were there at the the funeral. And yeah, somewhat after that, though of course none of them, Hiruzen didn't even know she had a sword, but little did she know just how powerful or strong this sword was. This was his greatest masterpiece, the greatest potential katana sword that would ever be. It was a katana, it was a sword pretty much a sword that would never dull, a sword that was eternally sharp, a sword that would never rust, a sword that shall never crack nor shatter in half, a sword that was forever strong, just like its wielder. And yeah, this sword was made out of near pure adamantine ore, adamantine, pretty much a chocolate-based metal that was ridiculously strong. So strong, pretty much it could cut, if it was sharpened just right, it could cut through practically anything. Actually, it could cut through anything without breaking itself. The only way an adamantine sword could be broken was by another much pure adamantine sword, though the sword would never somewhat break due to a simple fact of this being the purest adamantine katana sword out there. This being pretty much 99.9 to the 12th to 14th power 98% pure. Yeah, pretty much so pure that it was practically considered 100% pure adamantine. It's why it had taken so long. And adamantine also had the unique property of being chakra conductive. And yeah, the pure you went, the easier it was to flow. Due to it so pretty much high purity, it pretty much felt like she was sending chakra through her own body. It was just effortless. And yeah, and of course somewhat on she somewhat mentally somewhat swore that day that she would make him proud. She would become a kenjutsu user though she'd become potentially a goddess of kenjutsu. And yeah, and from there, of course, she very much was training before that, but she very much seemingly increased her already strong pace at training. And yeah, though she'd end up in the door slide, and she'd kind of somewhat blink a couple of times before shaking her head, clearing her somewhat thoughts, so she'd look and she'd be somewhat surprised that it was the silver-haired man that she had, or at least that had been in the same training ground as she was, that just yesterday. Yeah, they would kind of look at one another as the person would finally somewhat realise why at least the girl from yesterday felt familiar to him. Yeah, though he'd end up walking and as it go, well, I presume you are somewhat Team 7, in which one Sakura Hano would yell out, "Sensei, you're late." Though he would somewhat though he'd slightly wince and would just allow a slight sigh, though he'd somewhat look over them as he'd then simply stayed to meet him on top of the roof. And with that he'd disappear. A couple of minutes later and they'd be sitting on top of the roof as he'd point at the pink-haired girl and would state, "Well, you go first." Of course, the exact same interaction like in canon would go by with the silver-haired man, aka Kakashi, introducing himself. And yeah, from there, Sakura would then introduce pretty much herself, simply stating that she was pretty much the largest fangirl in all of existence to Sasuke. Of course, without saying that. And yeah. Of course, Sasuke's pretty much single goal in life was to kill his brother and revenge his clan, and yeah. When he'd somewhat look over, when he'd somewhat, of course, when he'd go and, somewhat Blondie. Yeah, though she'd pick up a slight trace of somewhat fear. She was kind of wondering, she was somewhat curious why when she'd end up remembering, right, he knows I can use the sword and the kenjutsu, so yeah. Though she'd go, "Well, my name is Naruto Uzumaki." And yeah. My likes, my dislikes, well, they're none of really your business, though I do dislike arrogant jackasses who think they're somewhat better than everyone else. 'Cause after all, somewhat, if you can't look underneath the underneath of the underneath that, then you shouldn't call yourself a shinobi. After all, a shinobi lives in deception. And yeah, Kakashi would kind of agree somewhat with her at that. Somewhat being kind of surprised. You know, he did somewhat read over Natsu's report, simply stating that he was the dead last, and you know, he took somewhat one look at that and pretty much just threw it away. Well, not really threw it away, but pretty much didn't really pay too much attention after that. And yeah, and he was almost thanking himself that he did, because yeah, she was clearly no freaking dead last from what he was hearing from her. She was no dead last. She was probably the actual Konoichi of the year, if not overall Shinobi of the year, though of course not really knowing of her actual, you know, taijutsu performance, and knowing that or at least her academy, well, he didn't even know her academy, what the academy had labelled her taijutsu at. Yeah. Anyway, though we'd simply tell them that it was good that they were all unique in their own way. Yeah, though, because he would end up somewhat slightly chuckling. Sakura, of course, would end up asking, you know, what was so funny, and yeah, he would of course end up telling them about or at least that they of course weren't actual genin yet, and that there was a 66% chance that they would fail. In other words, only 3 out of the 21 teams. No, that was too much. Out of the 9 teams, only 3 of them would pass. Yeah, Sasuke and Sakura would somewhat pale. Naruto would not care, simply, though they would look over to her and he'd go, "I presume you would presume that and figured that at least yesterday when we met you was hinting at that." Yeah, so you just somewhat nod, and yeah, though not really all that coincidental that you're somewhat as sensei. Yeah, though he'd somewhat be surprised, as she'd seemingly once more hinting that she understood how the teams were formed and may have manipulated to actually get onto this team potentially. And yeah, though it just somewhat kind of nod, and yeah, they wouldn't end up talking much more. The only other thing would be that, or two things would be that to arrive at the training ground at 8 and to also not eat breakfast if they didn't want to puke. With that, he would leave, and yeah, she'd somewhat stay there until Sasuke and Sakura would both leave, and after they would leave, she'd also somewhat leave. And yeah, though time would go by as Naruto would seemingly, though by now it was somewhat seemingly late, and she would be seemingly entering a side of a building. This building being a casino, was she entering into the side of it and not through the front door? Well, quite simply, she went there, or more specifically, a transformed adult form of her heavily altered somewhat form of an adult. Well, yeah, she pretty much just transformed into an adult woman and worked that as a bunny girl, though it wasn't her first job. After all, she was after all, the villagers hated her and they pretty much made everything more expensive. And yeah, because those who know, or at least if they did succeed in becoming actual Genin's passing the second test, then they would be forced to, of course, give her normal rates, as if they didn't, well, then it'd be potentially considered, conspiring against the Hokage, and yeah, that was no good. Anyway, though her first job was actually what she originally thought was a somewhat nightclub, as she'd kind of thought about, well, it's similarly, somewhat pole dancing and that, and well, yeah, so there'd be men drunk and that there, but she somewhat didn't really exactly care, though it was somewhat only once she'd started training when she'd realised it was actually a strip club, though she'd ended up signing a kind of somewhat 2-year-long kind of agreement that she couldn't leave doing 2 years. And yeah, though after a slightly kind of slow / embarrassing start, of course, she did slowly start kind of getting actually into it, and had eventually kind of lost all embarrassment to it. And yeah, though it was about the 1 year mark, of course, her curiosity with with everything just increasing, and likewise so did the object that sat between her legs, or well, laid within her legs in a way, I guess. Yeah, she's always so much curious to know what it'd feel like to have, of course, something go in there to, and well, of course, yeah, though she'd also know, or at least somewhat the strip club that she worked at very much didn't really care about somewhat pretty much sex, as long as both were obviously willing. Then it obviously they didn't care. Saw more money in, but they didn't really care. And yeah, the person, like a load of other smart men, would ask her if she'd be willing to have sex. She'd simply state back if he had had it before, had sex before. He would nod and would state many times. She'd then somewhat look at him dead in the eyes, slightly tinge red, and would tell him to just be gentle. He'd be slightly shocked, though he'd nod as it seemed like it would be a fast time. And yeah, after that, she'd very much and started to enjoy it even more. Though eventually, of course, the year would go up and she'd actually end up leaving to kind of start her second job as an actual nightclub, though she'd only be there for about a month before she'd leave, being bored of it. And eventually she, or at least after a couple of days, wound up or at least kind of being hired as a bunny girl for the very casino that she was still working to this day. Why? Well, because she kind of found it somewhat fun. Granted, it was somewhat slightly boring and definitely more on the annoying side due to that she had lost kind of the amount of times men have grabbed her butt and that. And yeah, the one time one grabbed somewhat her breast was the one time she very much pretty much gave the person a black eye and a shattered shoulder. Yeah, from that, the people very much kind of left her pretty much alone, and that you mess with her and you're pretty much going to lose a body part, potentially permanently. And yeah, anyway, though just as she'd reached about similarly halfway through her shift, the owner would ask her to someone come up to meet with him. Or at least one of the bunny girls would someone to tell her, and she would go and someone to meet up with the owner. And yeah, though he would simply ask her if she was still planning on someone leaving them tomorrow night. She'd nod, though she'd say that she'd potentially may stay. It was more up to just some other stuff out of her control. The person would just nod and go, well, because though he'd nod and he'd say, well, you always know if you ever someone get bored and that, you can always come back here. She'd kind of gain a somewhat smile and she'd nod, and yeah, the only other or at least place to say to tell her that was the strip club, though again that was somewhat understandable. She was, or at least due to her kind of ability to adapt, she'd gotten quite good at it and was one of the best there. So yeah, understandable, but yeah, to be honest, if the whole Shinobi thing didn't pay out for her, she'd be more than happy to go back into the line of working as a somewhat working in a strip club. She'd be fine there. And yeah, anyway, though because eventually my shift would end and she'd go home, have a quick bath, of course cook dinner, and then head off into bed. Yeah, next day she'd end up arriving at the train grounds at around 9 in the morning. And yeah, though Sakura would somewhat yell at her that she was late, and Naruto would ask how was she. Sakura would just point out the obvious that Sensei told her to be here by 8. And she'd go, well, okay, but where is Kakashi Sensei? then Sakura wouldn't be able to reply at that, and she'd go, well, if Kakashi ain't here to, keep up on what he says, then we can be late. As long as we're here prior to him coming, we're not late in a way. And Sakura just kind of stared at her before suddenly just kind of turning to Sasuke and asking him if he'd like to go on a date with her after this was over, in which he just say no. And yeah, though she'd kind of keep her distance from those two. And yeah, though of course she'd arrived somewhat 2 hours early. After all, Kakashi, from what she'd actually gathered, had come about 3 hours late. So what was stopping him from coming 3 hours late? Again, nothing. So he probably would indeed come 3 hours late, which would put the time about 11 o'clock. Though she'd arrived at 9, just because why not, just in case she was somewhat wrong. She didn't want them all to be waiting an hour for her, but yeah. Anyway, though then again she'd also mused that Kakashi would probably come and, actually get her up. And yeah. Anyway, though fast forward somewhat pretty much 3 hours, which would include the actual test, in which Naruto wouldn't really show any of her sword skills, as she would keep her katana at home for the moment, mainly because she didn't really want to use that to pass a Genin exam. And yeah, though somehow, of course, they would, they would wind up passing simply because they showed that they pretty much were going to disobey him so they could feed Sakura. She didn't really quite understand it, but yeah, she guessed that he'd probably lost his marbles some time ago. And yeah. Anyway, though, of course, after that, she again once more really didn't use her sword. And yeah, though of course that night she did go to her, or at least somewhat early, boss at the casino, and did state that she would be leaving tonight. And yeah. Anyway, though, besides from that, of course, somewhat the pretty much next, or at least, the pretty much month would then go by, as Kakashi mainly focusing kind of building up that teamwork, as he could very much see and know that Naruto was willing to work with them, but they weren't willing to work with her, which was of course annoying, as and especially Sakura, Sakura obviously somewhat, obviously didn't want to get her hands dirty and stuff like that, and it got to a point where Naruto just thought to bring her katana in, just bring her katana and just, actually kind of just somewhat slice off Sakura's head, kind of in a somewhat spine, go, oops, I didn't mean to do that, accidents happen after all. And though of course she would never follow through with that, but she did get close, very much close. And anyway, besides somewhat from kind of that and just getting very annoyed with Sakura, that was pretty much really all the most interesting thing. All the others was pretty much teamwork exercise and 4 D rank missions, which were pretty much chores, chores in which they get paid for, but still nevertheless really chores. Those who did try and see the best in it, like in them, but still, even that would only take us so far, and of course should also somewhat be somewhat coming closer to a limit of the amount she could take. Granted, it was mainly due to the constant teamwork building exercises than the actual D ranks. And in her opinion, she thought she was somewhat ready for a C rank, though she knew if she believed she was ready, she probably wasn't ready, as to her that would be in a way a sign of her own potential arrogance. So they would somewhat go into the Hokage Tower and would somewhat deliver Tora, the Fire Daimyo's wife's pet cat. And though after she would of course somewhat leave, the Hokage would then proceed to ask if they would proceed to somewhat list off another load of D rank missions. And though of course if they'd wanted someone he'd proceed to ask if they wanted the next one and to list off some that he still had. And Naruto would just let out a somewhat groan. And though Kakashi would look at his team somewhat and would be thinking on if they were somewhat ready. Granted, he knew they were nowhere near teamwork based ready for a C rank mission, but the C rank mission could be the mission to actually push them to work as a team. And plus it would also obviously give both Sasuke and Sakura her actually somewhat allow Naruto to somewhat not really show off the fact she somewhat has katana, just mainly the fact that she is a kenjutsu user. Though then again, the serum could also be somewhat boring. So though he'd somewhat look at his team, he'd look at Hiruzen and he'd go, well, Kage-sama, I would actually like to request a C rank mission. Naruto would be somewhat surprised. Sasuke would gain a somewhat smirk, and Sakura would also be somewhat surprised. He's gonna go, are you sure, Kakashi? Hi, Kage-sama, I believe they're ready. Hiruzen would somewhat nod like that and would go, well then, how about this, a simple escort mission to escort a bridge builder back to his home in Wave Country. Kakashi would nod, and taking the scroll, he'd momentarily read over it before handing it over to Naruto. And for the free gaining to read. After that, she'd hand it back over to Kakashi, and Hiruzen would then call out for the bridge builder to enter. And of course he would end up entering, and he would pretty much end up in the picking on the three, and somewhat even Naruto somewhat more, due to the way she somewhat would dress, as she'd be mainly wearing black and somewhat red. Though it be mainly due to somewhat, or at least how, mainly due to the fact her current, her somewhat actual Konorichi outfit would be in the wash, so well, yeah, she pretty much would be just wearing a kind of black and red somewhat lace up somewhat corset and somewhat a somewhat mini skirt, and well, yeah. Though of course Kikashi somewhat would kind of mentally somewhat think if, well, yeah, somewhat if he knew what she could potentially somewhat do, potentially meaning that mainly the sword, that she actually uses sword, then he probably would be saying that. Yeah, though Hirschman would end up simply cutting him off and saying that these were the, what he paid for, and also that there were some relatively strong what he said in canon. Yeah, though Kikashi dismissed them and tell them to arrive tomorrow at the front gates at 8. And yeah, though he would somewhat kind of tell Naruto to, at least if she didn't get, if she still, if some Konorichi outfit was still something drying or that, to just wear something else that kind of wasn't somewhat slightly inconvenient. So just somewhat nod. Yeah, the somewhat inconvenient was mainly due to the just of her somewhat seemingly men, though she didn't really care. And yeah, anyway. Though of course it did make somewhat Sakura jealous due to the fact Naruto had a somewhat larger chest than her. Heck, she was in some of the, she was in the population of the class of, or at least the very few population of the class that actually had a B-cup chest. And yeah, nothing that big, but hey, it was massively bigger than Sakura's AA chest size. Anyway, yeah, though somewhat after that, of course, they would end up kind of heading their own directions and doing their own things. So Naruto would end up managing to get her actual Konorichi outfit properly dried. And yeah, her Konorichi outfit was, just pretty much black. Black trousers and a somewhat kind of dark red top with a somewhat black and and a somewhat dark red and black jacket. And yeah, though her Kenjutsu, katana would pretty much strap to the side sort of her, mainly though it would kind of sit on, or at least around her back if she's obviously walking about. It would be somewhat around her back, though if she's about to obviously use in a fight, she could easily switch it from being at her back to being at her side. And yeah, anyway, though her shoes were pretty much heeled Konorichi boots. Well, yeah, they were pretty much mid-calf length leather boots. Why? Mainly due to the fact that at least around Konoha you could obviously get stinging nettles and some other type of plant life that could either do some obviously type of stinging or even potential poison. And with clothes obviously being somewhat thin, the sting nails and that could easily cut through or even get through the clothing. So having just somewhat that extra length sort of a at least protected foot. Granted, she had thought about, or at least going actually up to to 1/3 of a thigh, but she decided against that. Mainly, or at least for somewhat right now, though she'd use maybe once she was somewhat older and somewhat taller, she may consider wearing thigh highs, but for now, she wasn't. And yeah, and with that, guys, I'm going to end this part here. So if you have enjoyed part 1 to this, do tell me in the comments down below. And yeah, though goes for what I wanted to say in the end of this, right? Tomorrow, or when you will be watching this, Friday, I will be going potentially live around about 1 o'clock, somewhat 12, so 12 a.m. to, so either 12 or 1 a.m. BST or British Summer Time, so yeah, just UK time. So yeah, anyway though, that's pretty much what that's pretty much what I kind of wanted to say. So yeah, I'll be live streaming then. So if you obviously want to kind of join in on the fun, and also around about nearing the end of the live stream, I'll probably play some Among Us. So if you do want to obviously come, if you do own Among Us and you want to come, play with me and that, then jump into the stream to get the code, as I will be sort of playing with the code very much. Well, yeah, the room public, and with obviously you guys being able to see the code. So yeah, alright guys, as I said, hope you guys and girls have a good day or night, depending on wherever you are and whenever you watch this, and good bye.